Hi, everybody. I'm Angelo Batio, and I'm here to talk to you. And I want to give another free lesson. I think it's important to give back, and I think there's an old saying that what you do comes back 10 times. I hope that happens, but that's not my motivation. My motivation for my entire career was to help other guitar players. Now, today's lesson. Let me get a little closer here. Today's lesson is simply about how to practice properly. And here's a very interesting thing about practicing. Okay, I see Anthony here. Cool. All right, the people are starting to come now. And but let me say it again. Greetings from Peru. Thank you, Gareth. We're getting some people coming in. This new Facebook software makes it harder for me to see exactly who's online now. I can't really see who joins. I don't know why that is, but anyway, Denny, hello. I can only see when people comment. So they just changed the software. What can I do? Starting from last week. But anyway, I want to talk about how to practice properly. And one of the things, also, I'm using, some people said, with the white guitars that I'm playing that are in the background over there, that you actually couldn't see it up close unless I brought it up close. So I wanted to use another instrument. Now, one of the things I think there are different scale lengths. This is actually a little shorter scale length than say, for example, the two guitars that are back there. And so it depends on what you want to do and how your fingers feel. But what I can tell you is practicing, there's some universal truths to this. And I talked about this last week, but let me get a little closer. It simply comes down to this. There are two types of ways to understand when you're a musician, how to go about practicing. One, you want to practice music, songs, impressing your friends. That's what you want to do. Sorry, I'm backing up so the mic doesn't distort. But the other side is to get techniques that are actually good for you to use in the music. So here's what I learned very early on. What I do to warm up. Now, I have 3 different warm-up regimens. One, I'm practicing for a specific reason, for an album, or I'm learning a new song and I've really got to woodshed it. That is exercise regime 1. And then 2, just really to practice, to keep my chops up, to get better, but really to keep everything going. And so that's the second one. Third is when I'm in concert. And when I'm in concert, I found that over the years, the worst thing that I could do is to over practice before a show. It's like I'm sitting backstage going, or let's put on the amp. I'm sitting backstage going, whoa. So I could be riffing out, but here's the problem. It's backstage. It's not on stage, it's backstage. So what I found over the years is I play my best stuff before I ever hit the stage. I'm over rehearsed for the show. So I don't practice more than a half hour, maybe 45 minutes at the most, but I don't do a full-blown practice regimen when I'm on tour because it's counterproductive, because I focus on what I'm going to work on at the show. In other words, riffs of some of the songs I'm going to play, and I just warm my fingers up. That's it. So let's take what I want to focus on now on doing practice properly is you're sitting at home, or you're sitting especially now in this environment, and you want to learn something new. You want to get better. This is what you do. Let me see. God, we've got a lot of questions already. Sorry, everybody. I'm going to tell everyone here, I cannot see who's logging on. and this is a whole new Facebook software. And I mean, it looks really nice, but I used to be able to see people that logged on. And like, you know, how you see likes on a post. I can't see that anymore. And so anyway, so I'm just going to have to look at messages. Curtis, Brian, David Elson, hey, I've only ever wanted to play for me. It keeps me saying, hey, I agree. I play for me, and I hope you like it. That's really a good attitude. Okay, now, before I get into this, I'm using a Heritage Series Sawtooth guitar, and so many people have asked me, Michael, when's your signature series going to be released from Sawtooth? Because I don't always play traditional shapes, but I'm not playing pointy stuff either. And so what we are doing, if you see the white guitar here, it's right, not the kind of yellowish one, the off-white color. Beautiful guitar. It's an ES series, but the one to the left there, to my left, that is one of my signature series guitars. It's 24 frets. It's beautiful. We have black and one that has no tremolo, and the white one that has a locking trem. Those are going to be available very, very soon. And so they're so new, we don't even have a name for it. I'm going to call it the white dude and the black dude. So what we do, we have two great signature series models that are finally coming out. There's a lot more, but the line is going to eventually we'll have a 7-ring. Things got held up. But anyway, getting back, so when you ask, just know that I'm very cognizant of the fact that my signature guitars, you know, that are going to be there. I'm models that are from the company right now, and now we will have our signature. Okay, now somebody said pick angle and changing. Okay, let's start with this. Now I am using, I've got to show it up close here. Let me grab it. I got some notes here. This is my signature guitar pick. It is a ChromaCast from the company ChromaCast. They're affiliated with Sawtooth, and Sawtooth's a big company, so is ChromaCast. And they have Go DPS, which is a music store. They have 3 companies in one. It's really an amazing conglomerate of companies and great people involved. It's a 1.3 millimeter, and it's made out of a material called Delrin. Sometimes other companies have called it Tortex. And what I found with this is that when you use a material like this, especially 1.3 millimeters, and it's very pointed, it's like a jazz style pick, it gets a great rock and metal sound because it's a little brighter. This guitar screams, but what it does is you get a jazz feel and that really articulate feel of a, in other words, you're either going to hit it or you miss it. That's why so many great guitar players use these. They call them teardrop styles, but they're smaller, they're pointed. You either hit it or you miss it. And so that's what I like about it. There's no in between. So hello from Germany. And so here's what I do about holding the pick. I've talked about this in previous lessons. There are only 2 disciplines of holding a guitar pick. You're either going to, well, actually 3 because there's a hybrid. You either keep your hands off the guitar, and I'm going to give you a little demonstration of this, okay? So when you're playing, see, my hands are not resting on the guitar. Yes, I can do the other technique. So that's one. Then the second is somehow resting your fingers on a guitar. Now, when you see picking techniques like this, Joe Bonamassa is a great example, but he's a hybrid. So like a lot of times you'll see him picking low like this, then he moves higher, then he'll do this. And sometimes to use multiple fingers, hybrid picking, or he'll change a little bit. That's allowed, okay? But there are 2 disciplines. There's the one where you keep your fingers, literally, they're not touching the body. That doesn't mean you don't mute. That doesn't mean you do everything that you're supposed to do. The other discipline is someone like me, where I put 3 fingers down. But it's unusual, it's different, but it's the same technically as a Petrucci or an Ingve, or people that put their hands somewhere on the instrument. Okay, so you have these two different ways to pick. And then you have people like the Joe Bonamassa who mostly do this, but then he adds a hybrid. Sorry, I cut myself right before I was coming out here. But anyway, what I do is I hold my fingers on the guitar. So it works fantastic. Either way is good. So know that. Secondly, you really should have an angle to your pick. Holding your pick perpendicular or parallel to the strings, I should say, not perpendicular. I meant something else. But anyway, so when you hold your pick parallel to the strings, it's not a good sound. You want to add a little bit of a pick angle, either downward towards the headstock or upward. Either one doesn't make a difference, but you want that for two reasons. One, it gets a better tone. Two, it glides better. See, you're not hitting strings straight on. So it's tone and it's ease of playing, either downward or upward, but you should. All the great players I've ever seen, ever. And I look at the ones who are famous and great. That doesn't mean there's a lot of other great guitar players too. But somebody asked, is it possible to know? I'm going to try and answer some questions. Is it possible to be a good guitarist without knowing music theory? Let me clear up one thing. And I've answered the question about the angle of the pick. The other thing, somebody said I bought the string dampener. I don't have one on here. I'm waiting for a new batch to come in. I'll have them for next week because they're selling so many. They didn't have any. So anyway, getting back to the idea of music theory or having a degree and being good has nothing to do with the other. And people maybe go, oh my God, what do you mean that? I have a degree in music. Okay, so it's my expertise, but it doesn't make me it didn't make me born with more talent. Malmsteen I really love his style. I saw his very first show. I like anybody that can go out and be successful doing what they love to do. Is not only one of my favorite players, but I saw his very first show with Mike Varney, the very first one he ever played in America. He is not a music theory expert, not like me. He didn't graduate college. That does not matter. What matters is that he had the ability in his head. He was born with a gift that he nurtured, that he made. He put it this way. There's a phrase called "come to fruition." He made it. His talent come to fruition. He made it happen. Now, what does a degree do for me? I was born with this talent too. I was born with this extreme talent, like other great guitar players. But the problem that sometimes people have that have degrees is they're not born with that talent. So you get sometimes teachers that have a lot of education and that they think is a substitute for pure raw talent and the work ethic to make that talent that come to fruition. And so here's what I can tell you, that do you need music theory to be a great musician? No. But if you are good and you have a great work ethic and you believe in yourself, you say, I can do this, I know I can, music theory and knowing about music is going to really enhance your playing because it takes the learning curve out of it. People that don't know about music have to learn a little slower. They've got to trust their ear and then they've got to ask themselves, why does something sound good? Okay, but people who know about music, their learning curve is like this because they hear something that sounds good and they can analyze it. I can analyze a piece of music. And if I don't really understand the feeling of it or even understand the technique, I can understand one thing. I can analyze it and then I will understand it. Okay, so I hope that answers the question. You do not have to have a degree to be a great artist or a great musician. But if you are a great artist and have a degree, you're probably going to be in the game a long, long time. And because knowing about music, it's kind of like knowing your craft in any field, knowing construction, knowing anything. It really has helped me. I mean, I've been in music a long time. I'm playing at the top of my game. I've never been hurt. I understand music, and it also gives me an ability to change with the times because I'm not stuck in the past. Now, let's play a little bit more here. So here's what I start off every practice regimen. Now, this is about practice, again, for the 1,001th time, 1,001 times, 1,002, 1,003, 1,000,001. I've never been hurt playing guitar, ever. I never am going to be hurt playing guitar. I have a methodology in the Speed Kills program that not only did I write and make happen, but I studied classical piano. That's for part of my degree too. I studied every instrument in the symphony orchestra. There's a word called idiomatic. Idiomatic means if you write something for an oboe, you better make sure the oboe can play. If you write something for a clarinet, well, I'll tell you, my mind is getting blown up now. Okay, guys, and don't be on my normal Facebook page or on my official page now because people are blowing up my normal page. All right. Anyway, and what idiomatic means is simply that what is capable on the instrument, that you write passages that are idiomatic for the instrument, that work for the instrument. Okay. You're not going to write this for a tuba. First of all, yeah, maybe it could play multiple notes. It can only play one note. A trumpet can't play more than one note. Okay, so you can't write stuff with two notes or more. So you have to think, what is idiomatic for the trumpet? This is what I do when I play guitar, and I write. When I've written pieces of music for every instrument of the symphony orchestra, that's what I had to do at the university. And I have my Harvard School of, it's like the dictionary of music, so it gives you the ranges of all the instruments, but it's not necessarily just the range. It's, for example, G sharp and A, a fifth, starting the fifth above middle C. Anyway, instruments like clarinets have to do a weird fingering to go to G sharp and A. So if you don't know that and you write a passage, yeah, I can't play it, man. Even Benny Goodman or, it's not idiomatic for the clarinet. Okay, so you have to figure out things that are. Now, when I start to practice, it's very simply this, okay? A lot of times I'll play an amplified or I'll use one of my Sawtooth practice amps like I'm playing right now. And I'll start with the exercise that you've seen me play before, where it's finger 1, 2, all the way up the neck, then fingers 1, 3, then 1, 4, then 2, 3, then 2, 4, then 3, 4. In other words, every configuration of fingers, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, then 2, 3. Sorry, I knew that was coming, so did you. 2, 4, and then 3, 4. Those are the main configurations. Then I do 4 notes per string exercise. Now, what I am doing is when I'm in this warm-up phase, this is the very beginning part, I am playing slow to medium speed. That is what I'm doing. And so when I do this, like literally, let's see, back off. Now, here's what you do. When you're practicing and if you want to get better, you start from the basic. Start with this, warm up, calibrate your fingers, play slow, watch your fretboard hand. Once you finish these exercises, then you have to ask yourself the next question, because see what you're doing, it's like lifting weights, only we are in music. You warm up first. And the warm-ups should be very specific. They should be exercises like I'm talking about, nothing over top. Okay, these are sometimes, put it this way, you see this in classical guitar. So this is tried and true. So you play these exercises slow and as accurately as you can. Then you play the 4 notes per string exercise. Then what I do is I like to do some fourth finger calibration exercises that I call. I do a blues scale exercise going. Let me turn this up a little. Now, what I'm going to do too, after we do this lesson today, is I'm going to post on this page, my official Facebook page, tablature for what I've talked about today. So it's going to be pretty cool. And so this exercise alone really helps me. It is a blues scale exercise, and it goes. So I literally play the blues scale on 3 strings. Okay, a lot of people are asking me, showing up close to the pick hold. I will do that. And upward or downward angles. Okay, I will do that too. Now, why do I do this exercise? Everything I do has a reason. And, it's like everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. I used to love that verse. But it was some band, I can't even remember the name. All I know is Wes Borland, the guitar player. But they did, I'm a believer. They did versions of all this stuff. But anyway, I just remember everything happened for a reason. Okay, so anyway, but that was the theme, Mission Impossible, which was awesome and brilliant. Okay, I don't know about everything happens for a reason, but I like the rest of the song. Now, getting back to this, but everything does, when I practice, happen for a reason. And the reason is this. You do the simple blues scale exercise. Using your 3rd and 4th fingers. Somebody said, what about shredding without a pick? We're talking about a pick, not shredding without a pick. Okay, now, how about doing sweep arpeggios? Angle the pick. Yes. This is the idea. And let me show you up close what I do, if you can see this. Okay. Now, say this is straight on. I angle it downward like that. Do you see that angle? It's downward. Now, let me hang on one second here. Got some notes. Now, watch. When I'm playing very, very close, that's not the way I do it. I angle it downward. So if you can see, I'm trying to get the right angle on the camera. I angle downward. Everything I do is angled downward. You play arpeggios downward. In other words, this is BPS. So this is how I play fast, how I play slow. I angle my pick. You really should angle it. Playing parallel to the strings is not that great of a sound, and it's not going to make it easier for you to play. So I angle the pick downward. Some people angle it upward. When I play my double guitar left-handed, I sometimes angle upward, although I've retrained myself to angle downward. But it was easy to play on an upward angle. The point is you angle it no matter if you do sweeps, no matter if you play legato. Every technique you use with a guitar pick, angle your pick. You're going to find that you like one way or the other. Okay, so after I do these warm-up exercises, now here's where you can change. See, let me explain the theory of warming up. There are so many great guitar players out there right now. There are so many young players that are teaching guitar. Now, it doesn't matter that they have a degree like I've got, but what my methodology does is it's a more classical based approach. You start from here and build upwards. A lot of younger players like to start here and they forget downward. I want to play fast, they're really fast. I want to play fast, really fast. I want to play the last arpeggio. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. I always feel the need for speed. And so I understand. I totally understand that. But I also understand the discipline of being able play faster by playing slower. And so here's, after you do this exercise, what I also do is then I vary it. Now, so here are the components of proper practicing. 1, play slow, no faster than medium speed, and do warm-up exercises that warm up every finger, especially first and your fourth finger and your third and fourth finger. You want this motion and you want this motion. So that's first. After that, then you can work on whatever technique of the day you want to work on. Let's say you want to work on sweep technique. Remember, your pick needs to be angled. So now I'm also going to put that arpeggio plus another one in tablature and notation. I was really good at notation, so you're actually going to see my handwriting, how good I can write. I don't need a tablature software program to notate. My original Starlix video, let me get the booklet here. Hold on a second. Okay. Can you see that? Okay, that's my handwriting. So that is part of the booklet. And let's get some more intense stuff here. See, so this was my handwriting on this, and I'm going to give you the exercises that I showed you today with my handwriting in tablature form. Now, so you start with basics. Start at the ground level to warm up. Take 10 minutes. That's all you need. 10 or 15 minutes, you'll warm up. Slow to medium speed, warming up every finger, third and fourth fingers, second and fourth finger. Your first and second fingers and third are your fastest, especially your first and third. Okay, but not your third and fourth, or not your second and fourth. And I use my fourth finger all the time. And so once you do this, then you work on a technique that you want to work on for that. Maybe it might be tapping, maybe it might be sweeps, maybe it might be something else, legato. And then after that, then you can work on the music. And so you really divide it into 3. Now, also there's another thing that I do. So when I'm practicing really to learn something new, I will practice hour after hour after hour, but I also take a break. When you feel fatigued mentally or feel fatigued physically, take a break. Now, I'm going to show you a couple guitars here. This is the Heritage Series. This is one that Sawtooth offers. I use this on tour. They have Duncan pickups in it. It plays really great. But I'm going to show you something that we're thinking about doing as one of my signature guitars. Hold on a second. Okay, this is a Sawtooth Americana series that we burned. I've been trying to do this for a while, and it's a friend of mine named Mac that burns these bad boys. Check this out. Look at that. That's sick. Look at the headstock. I'm going to flip it upside down. Look at that. Look at the tuners. Look at these tuners. They are melted. The freaking tuners are melted. This is total shred. But the cool thing about this guitar, I'm going to change. I have 2 amps set up. Okay, so I want to change to a clean sound. This guitar sounds amazing. It's got a 5-position toggle switch. We are using, let me make sure I have the configuration right. We're using in this, we changed these pickups out. They are called Alnico. They're Alnico pickups, meaning like Strat style pickups. But they have called the ATS1 by Duncan, and they are really, really great. And the sound of this guitar, plus we did a push pot here. Look at this. Look up close. Is that mean or what? Now, here is the question. Oh yeah, where can I buy Speed Kills physical form? Metalmethod.com. Speed Kills, this was yeah, I talked about Speed Kills 3. You're right. In Speed Kills 3, if you go to mentalmethod.com, everything I talk about, somebody said, well, why don't you just play all the time? Don't talk. But see, in a lesson like this, a lot of it's here. See, a lot of people don't realize their potential. They don't bring their playing to fruition. And especially the phrase, realize your potential. A lot of people don't, because they don't believe in themselves. Somebody said, when you're playing fast, do you mute the strings at all? Yeah, sometimes. Limp Bizkit, that's the name of the band. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah, I mute. I love this guitar. So that is the bridge position. It's a 5-way switch. See, this is like a tone. It changes the tone slightly. There is a lot of things. It sounds so good. But here's the question for everybody. We're thinking about making this a signature guitar because it'll be one of a kind. So we're talking about burning the guitars. Give us your feedback. What do you think? Now, I love, but this is not just somebody who takes a blowtorch to this thing. This is meticulous. Everything works. Everything works. It looks really cool. And I even these tuning keys, I mean, they're melting. They are realistically melting. When I saw that, I was like, that's bad. And I mean, this guitar is made out of alder. Also, Sawtooth uses a really cool wood. I had to write this down. Okay, let's see. Okay, I hope I said it. This neck is not rosewood. It's not ebony. It's oval. Now, why are we using this? See, Sawtooth is a really cool company. A lot of other companies are there to make their cheap $1,000 or $6,000, that $6,000 guitar. Everybody's gonna have one. And so what Sawtooth is doing is, what can we use that are woods that are readily available, that are not on the endangered species list? And so how can we get something like rosewood without using rosewood? Can't really use rosewood that much anymore. So Ovinkal is an amazing substitute. And the body on this is alder, but we are looking to do a signature model and like this. So give us your thoughts. Check out the back of this. It's just so bad. I mean, look at that. It just burnt to perfection. Okay, now somebody asked, as a beginner and lefty. Now I want to take some of your questions, because I didn't do that the last couple of weeks, but I feel that it's very important. Let's see. And so I'll give you private lessons. Okay, somebody said to another girl, so you're trying to hit on somebody on my page, huh? Okay, anyway, so somebody asked me, what advice would they give to a left-handed person? Should they play lefty or righty? Now, let me tell you, I am a left-handed person, and I had a choice. I had to play righty. That was my choice. And here's my other choice. I either play right-handed or I don't play at all. And my dad said, "Son, you will have," let me take a quick drink. He said, "You will have this great ability. You will have this definite advantage playing left-handed, and that's why I can do, the over-under stuff." And, but the translation was, if you don't play right-handed, you will not play. And see, here's what I learned. I learned that my right hand was weak. See, a lot of right-handed players, they can do all that fancy stuff. Well, I can do it too, because I worked on it. So to answer your question, if I had it to do all over again, and there were left-handed guitars available, I would have started left-handed, because you want your picking hand, your fingering hand, if you're playing classical, you want this to be the dominant hand. See, this was my weakest link. It was my weakest link. I had to work 2 years to practice to get my right hand, my picking hand. I had to get it down. That is the riff I played over and over and over. I used to do this, and I say this on my first instructional video. When I was going to school, I was obsessed with playing alternate picking. And I'll tell you, there were 2 reasons. A guitarist that I really loved, Robert Fripp, in the band King Crimson, he had that free-floating picking mechanism that I talked to you about earlier, that he didn't, See, now I'm, yeah, Burnham. Okay, Nick, great, thanks. Good friend Nick is there. Anyway, do a relic Les Paul style. We can do a relic. This is, you could call this a relic, but this goes way beyond a relic. This is torched in the name of guitar. We torched this bad boy. No guitar is safe from the torch. And so, but the cool thing about it, it sounds great. But anyway, getting back to picking in this, the idea of alternate picking. Robert Fripp played like that, and I didn't. See, I was mainly a legato player when I was younger because my left hand was so powerful, and it was so much more advanced than my right hand. Then there's a great friend of mine named Mark McNally. We co-wrote the song 8 Pillars of Steel. He had that riff. He actually wrote. And he wrote. I love that. Like, and you can mess with the drums. You can do polymical stuff like that. It sounds amazing. But anyway, he was great at alternate picking, and we're the same age, and we met when we were teenagers. In fact, there's a picture on a personal Facebook page of me around the time that we met, about a year after. And so, anywhere, the burnt guitar looks sick. But the idea of alternate picking was something that I worked very, very hard to achieve. Players like Al Di Meola. So what I did was this. I literally worked on this. Just that riff. Over and over. And here I learned. Sometimes I could play it. Sometimes I couldn't. I would play it over and over. But I played it in the A position. So let's see. It looks like a guitar will get on sale. Trey Gray, you're nuts. Sorry. Looks like a guitar I would get on sale on eBay that was in a house fire. No, that guitar would not play. This burnt guitar is amazing because there's a lot that goes into it. So, I'm actually kind of glad that some people have closed minds about things. I double guitar this because I don't ever worry about those people. The people you have to worry about are ones like me. You know why? I don't criticize you. I don't go on any place and say, this sucks, this sucks. You know what I do? I shut up and play guitar. And I look at new ideas, and even if I don't like something at first, I reserve my judgment because I found in music, even songs, a lot of the songs that I hated at first in my head ended up being my favorite songs. And so even movies, I remember watching for example, the Last Avenger. I wasn't the biggest fan of Friendly Hulk. Okay, I just thought it was kind of weird. All right, but it's only me. But it's not like I went online and said, "This sucks. Oh my God, what happened to the Hulk? What happened?" No, I just reserved my judgment and I watched the movie again. Now, is it my favorite version of Hulk? No. But it's really cool, and it did become the #1 grossing movie of all time. So you got to give the people who did something did it right. This is not just burnt mindlessly. The person that does this is very meticulous about it, and all the parts work amazing. Everything sounds good. And somebody wrote this, Dave Elson. Each finish will be different. It's one of a kind. We're just considering this now. And so, but anyway, getting back to the alternate. I worked really hard. And what I used to do when I went to high school, I was so obsessed with getting technique down. But here's what happened. Sometimes I couldn't do it. I would play it over and over and over and over and over. Somebody 3 fingers on the fretting. This example. I have a lot of 3-finger exercises on my Speed Kills programs, metalmethod.com. And guys in the chat, how often do I change strings? I have a signature set of ChromaCast strings. I change them about once every 3 shows because I use multiple guitars. If I was going to play a show every night, using one guitar, I would probably change them once every 2 shows, maybe after every show. Not because they would break. I very rarely break strings, but when I do, that's why if I had one guitar to play all the time, I would change them after every show, just as a precaution. How fast do you manage the broken string while you perform? I don't. I just get a new guitar. I know I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan do that, but if you're using trem and your string breaks, boing, you're dead. It goes, ballistic. But now, getting back to this alternate, and then we'll get back. When I played that, here's what I used to do. I used to actually say, Mom, I'm sick when I was going to high school. Mom, I'm sick. Oh, what we did, we had these old-fashioned heaters. They were like the strip against the floor of my bedroom. And I had my own room. My sister had her own room. And so, let's see. And so what happened, yes. And so, sorry, I'm looking at questions. So anyway, on the bottom here was the heat. So, Chicago's a cold climate where I grew up. I would stick my head by the heater and I'd start to fry my head. I'd be dripping with sweat and I'd be hot. And I go, Mom, I'm sick. I'm really sick today. I just don't think I can go to school. And she'd feel my head. She'd go, oh my God, you're running a fever. I'm like, and she goes, oh, I think you should over from school today. I'm like, thank you, Mother. And so my mom would go to work. Here's in my room. I would go crazy. I would play this riff over and over and over and over and over and over and over. But what happened is that I found out that I was making a mistake, that not everything was synced, where I would down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, like alternate. I sometimes hit a new string on a downstroke, like economy, but I didn't know I was doing it. And once I realized that, I started looking. I started watching my picking hand. So I started. I started watching that hand, and I made everything precise. So I can thank my mother for helping me be a better guitarist. But having said this, when you are rehearsing, when you are starting, start with slow to medium speed warm-ups. Okay? Then you graduate to the technique of the day or of the week. You can start to play music. Now here is something, Hendrix, that burnt guitar, I think Frank Zappa owns that. Somebody looks like Hendrix had his way with this. I probably, we like to think the spirit of Jimmy is around. And so, but here's something that I cannot stress enough. Again, I look at it like working out. If you do the same practice regimen every single day, you're not going to get as much out of it. And why is that? Because your brain, your body, your fingers, they get used to what you are doing. And so what happened is the gains that you would make are starting to be less and less. So you have to trick your body. You have to trick your fingers a little bit and vary the exercises. So what this means is that don't get in a regime where you do the same thing all the time. The only thing that you should do is warm up. Do the warm-up exercises. That's the only thing. From that point on, mix it up. There's no law that says things have to be a certain way. And so when you mix it up a little bit, let's just say you warm up and you dive right into a song. There's nothing wrong with that. But here's another point, and here's another strategy. You have to think in terms of things: the music, the technique. So if you're playing music, usually talented people, is they are ones that find a way to play a song. Now, that's one of my songs called Peace. So when I was writing Peace, and I actually started writing it on piano. I was in England at the time. And so what I started doing, what you do when you're warming up, if you've got a song in your head, if you've got a piece of music that it's very heartfelt and you want to express yourself and you're working on it, do the warm-ups first. Then, like I remember, I used to just go. And so I would play this, and then I came up. I wish you could see my picking hand better. Okay. And so I came up with this part. And so, yep, I shut up and play guitar. The best guitar quote that I've listened to. Yeah, when you're playing on stage, yes, I agree. Now, love the burnt look, great. You travel a lot with Sawtooth Guitars. How stable are the necks? That's Brett. Hey, Brett, how are you? He's a really good friend. They're very stable. A whole tour of them, and with the guitars. The guitar on the left that you see there was one of the touring guitars, and the Heritage Series was another one. I didn't really have any problems with any. They're great, and I beat guitars up. I show them no mercy. I want them to be played hard, and so me play in concert, you know what I mean? I play extremely hard. Now, okay, somebody said, any advice for me? I lost the tip of my ring finger when I was young and find runs challenging. I don't know if you have something. Well, here's what I would do. It's called a workaround. I don't know your finger and I don't know which finger you lost, but I'll tell you what I would do. Django Reinhardt, like. So what he did was he actually had two ring fingers, and he found what I call a workaround. And so what he did was he found ways to play. If you are missing one tip of your finger, and that is a weak link for you, find out what it can do, and then what it can't do, make your other fingers work around that. Because that's your choice in life. I mean, some people have long index fingers. Some people don't. Believe it or not, I don't have the longest index finger. Look at the finger. A lot of people's index fingers are actually taller than their ring finger. What does that mean? It means that even though I'm tall and I have a big hand, that it means that because my finger's shorter, it wouldn't stretch as far as somebody that has a longer index finger. I make studies of this stuff. So what does that tell you? It tells you, and it tells me, okay, this is what I've got. Unless I can find some bizarre way to grow my fingers, it's the way they're going to be. So I work within the context of that, and stretch really far because I forced myself to. I actually worked on stretch exercise, and in the song "Burn," I actually play that. And so somebody said, what is a Wilkinson tremolo? It's a guy named Trevor Wilkinson. I know. Let me switch back to the other guitar. You have answered the question. Okay. Now. Okay. Let's get back to this. But yeah, Trevor makes cool bridges. They're non-locking trems, but they work really good. I actually have on a couple of my guitars. Okay, now let's push back to the original sound. Okay, let's see. It tightens the grain of wood. Somebody said they did a burnt technique. Yeah, I'll tell you, this guy Mac is really amazing that does it. Now I'm going to look for some other questions here because we've gone over a lot of things in these lessons. This is like my fourth or 15th. Play tribute to Randy. Okay, I want to talk about a couple things now. Next Thursday, we are going to be doing something very, very special. We are going to be doing a guitar clinic, which means, when people say, play more, I'm a teacher on these. Okay, so listen to what I said and listen to I have a huge passion for the guitar. I love her. I still love to get up on stage. I look at this even as a show. I just enjoy what I do so much, and I'm trying to help you. Whether you listen or not, I can't, it's the old phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Okay, my dad used to say that. But I can tell you this, if you listen to the concepts are life-changing. And they will be with you your whole life. An exercise, see, once you do my exercises and get speed kills, I have speed kills 1, the original. I redid the original. We called it Speed Kills 2010. I didn't really want to even redo it, speed, but we did it, and we used a little more modern technology, no better than the original. But then we have Speed 2, Speed Kills 2, and Speed Kills 3. They are not meant to be played in sequence. They are standalone instructional programs. But everything that I've shown you, I show a lot of advanced playing on there, and it's really well done. And so I highly recommend that because there are a lot of great exercises that other guitar teachers teach, and that's great. But when you're warming up, start with what I've told you. Start with the basics, because the basics will calibrate your hands. They'll get your mind focused. In other words, your mind to left and right hand. And you've got to have everything in sync and everything in focus. And so when you do that, then you begin to play what you want to play. And always remember, technique and music are separate until you can take a technique and merge it with the music. So when you're practicing technique, don't think of it like a song. That's a bad mindset. Think of it as I'm working on something specific to add to the way I play to create music and have more colors to paint music with. See, because every technique in my thinking is like a color like in a painting. Okay, if you're limited to the amount of colors you can use, then your painting, you can still make great paintings. I mean, you can make a great piece of art with one string, okay? But if you want all the colors to use and have at your disposal, practice these techniques individually and work on them individually. And I do. If somebody says that I talk too much, too bad, dude, or dudette, get my programs and you'll see the lessons. And I'm going to show you also, I'm going to give you some of the tab, but these are life lessons too, because here's my saying, it is better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Why not have? It's like I used to love those big box of crayons when I was a kid. 64 crayons. I hated the little box. Yeah, I could draw with it, but 64, I have all these colors. Whoa, you mean I got all this to work with? Then it's still up to you to make a good piece of art. I cannot tell you how to create music, but I can give you the techniques in the most unbiased way that I can and say this technique will work for you if you make it work. Just work and have confidence and believe that you can do it. I believe you can do it. I believed I could do it, and that's why I can now. But yeah, now I'm going to look for some other questions here. Let's see. Play Hands Without Shadows for us. Here's what I want to say. Next Thursday is going to be something that pretty much most people have done. And we are going to do a cross-platform clinic sponsored by GoDPS Music, Sawtooth Guitars, Sawtooth Amps, and ChromaCast Music Products. Now, what we're doing is this. When people ask to play, the bridge part of Peace is one of the best breakdown sections. Thanks. Yeah, Brett, that is actually a tone poem about a village. Peace is a tone poem. It's about a village, and I kind of equate it with, it's about peace. Now, I've got a distortion now, but so I change it. it's peace. It could be like an evil village. But then all of a sudden, they know something's coming. And so what happens is, because 100 years ago, when you're in your fort or you're in your village with the wall around the city, you knew your enemy was coming. You could see it, you could hear it, you had scouts. So the enemy's coming, and that is the war. So you hear boom, boom, that's the battle. And then all of a sudden, then I do it, then all of a sudden, now I wish I had a clean sound for this. I can change it again. I can use the foot switch. But the point is, I'm thinking so much about the music because I'm so into it. But what happened with Peace, and then I'll get back to the clinic. With Peace, I wrote it to depict an image. These were tone poems in the 1800s, the 19th century. Composers felt that they could create music like they could describe a brook or they could describe the ocean waves coming in music. So what I did, it was called a tone poem. And this is what I learned in school. So Peace is actually a tone poem. And so it starts peaceful, the village. I pictured like England, 4 or 5 centuries ago, and you're in your village and everything's peaceful. Then it starts. Something's happening. You get a feeling. Humans, we get feelings. Something bad's going to happen. Then the war, that, it's like, whoa, and all of a sudden the war happens and calms down. And then you hear the theme. And then the theme starts again. The chordal theme, and then I go, and then I start main melody, because what it is there's peace, and so they conquered their enemy, and now it returns to peace. Getting back to God, my phone is blowing up here. Okay, now getting back to this clinic, and I'm trying to answer questions. I'm trying to go back and forth. So I hope I'm not scatterbrained. I'm looking at all these questions coming in. And I'm hoping that, let's see, there's a question that I don't understand. Okay. Now, what I want to talk about is this very special thing we're doing. It's a guitar clinic. So everybody that asks me, play this song, I'm going to be playing songs, full songs, live in your face. So we'll be doing that next week. But here's the really cool thing. We are going to be doing a cross-platform clinic. You will be live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the same time. So in other words, 3 platforms. Now, 3 divisible by metal. 2 plus 2 is metal 4 minus 1. That is metal 3. So we are going to do it. Oh yeah, somebody asked me about pick slanting too. Okay, but anyway, YouTube, right here, and Instagram all at the same time. It's going to be at the same time in other words, 3 platforms simultaneously. We're going to do a test run Wednesday. Next Thursday, if you've noticed, I do these at the same time every week. Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific, PST, 6 o'clock Chicago time, 7 o'clock New York time. Let's see if it's 6 o'clock here, it would be 6 hours later, 12 o'clock in England, 1 o'clock in the morning, Italy and Germany. And so 12 hours later, if you're in China, if they could even see it. Anyway, I am playing the Americana. What we did on the burnt guitar right here, sorry, I'm looking at the screen, is we used, I'm sorry, this is the Heritage. This is the Americana guitar from Sawtooth. And you will be seeing my signature guitars come. I will actually be playing them next week. Sawtooth is an amazing company. They own Sawtooth Guitars, Sawtooth amps. They make Sawtooth basses, Sawtooth drums, and this amazing array of percussion. I am the main guitar endorsee. Rudy Sarzo from Ozzy Osbourne, Whitesnake, Quiet Riot, the iconic Rudy Sarzo is their main bass endorsee. The infamous, I won't say infamous, the incredible drummer, Vinny Appice, is the main endorsee of drums. Vinny has played in Ronnie James Dio. He played in Black, so you went, cry out to the legions of the brave. When Black Sabbath did Neon Nights and Sing Me a Song, You're the Singer. I love that. I love Ronnie James Dio. But Vinny was, and the drummer for all those on tour and in the studio. He is an amazing world-class drummer, just like Rudy Sarzo was on. I've had the opportunity to jam with both numerous times. They are fantastic. And so Sawtooth drums alone are amazing. One of the owners, Joe Fuco, is a drummer. And not only is he a drummer, but he's a great drummer. And so he can hit drums like you wouldn't believe. He is so knowledgeable about the instruments, and he's also knowledgeable about guitars and about woods, and so he gets very detailed. And so he is an amazing musician, but he's also an amazing businessman, and he knows about the products in and out. So and then what about the amps? I am using Sawtooth amps. That's what you're hearing here tonight. I use them all the time. See, I like it because really, and I don't use any effects. And so you're not hearing me clouded with a bunch of delay and chorus and everything. I mean, yeah, it's easy to play like that, but when I mean, these guitars sound great, the amps sound great, and the price points are amazing. And so that's another thing too. What we're trying to do with these guitars and the amps, we're trying to bring people into music. Anybody can make a $6,000 guitar if you hire the right, you get some master luthier in, and it's a one of a kind. Anybody can do that. That's not talent. If you have the money to put into a guitar, anybody can build a $250,000 car if you get the right. You can hire the best people. It's harder to make a guitar that's reasonably priced, that's really good. And what does that do? When Sawtooth brings people reasonably priced guitars that are real instruments, that are really great. These are not super expensive instruments, but they have great quality parts. They sound amazing, and they're durable. It brings younger players or people that want to start to play guitar into the fold. We don't, I use this as one of the analogies in one of my earlier lessons. If you think of it like a pie or a circle, let's do more mathematical terms. A circle. A lot of guitar companies, most of them, are not trying to make the circle bigger. They are trying to divide that circle into pieces. And what they're doing is, say one company has a big piece, they want to steal a piece of that piece. So they want to turn that one big piece and split it in half or split it into a third. They want to take this existing circle and just take more of their owner of the circle. Sawtooth is different. We want to make the circle bigger. We want to include more players. And that is the premise of this. And so my signature series, when it comes out, it's amazing. And it's going to be at a price point where you can say, yes, this is a great guitar, and it's got great features, and it's reasonably priced. But I'm going to be showing you some of my signature guitars next Thursday. You are going to see a clinic. It's not going to be me just talking and playing and explaining my theory. I'm going to be playing full-blown tunes in your face live. And we are going to do it on 3 different platforms at the same time. I'm good at doing stuff at the same time here. And so we are going to be Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live at the same time, 4 p.m. in metal terms. 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Chicago time, all the same time. -1, 7 o'clock New York time, and then you can figure it out. So it's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time next Thursday, a clinic sponsored by GoDPS Music, Sawtooth Guitars, Sawtooth Amps, and ChromaCast. My string dampeners are made from ChromaCast. They are under $20. They are a great value. They work really good. Somebody asked me, now I'm going to answer a couple more questions, but you don't want to miss this clinic. It's going to be really fantastic. And again, I apologize. I cannot see who is online anymore. It is the software from Facebook. They've changed it. I went back to the original software a couple of weeks ago, and it got kind of screwed up. But I used to be able to see who comes online. I can only see you if you type a question in. So anyway, let's see. More machine than man. I feel that way. Who are your guitar influences? I have a lot of them. I've met most of them. I didn't grow up, in the generation the Eric Claptons, and that was before me and the Jimi Hendrixes. Not saying that I'm super young, I'm not, but but my influences were guitar players that weren't exactly in the mainstream at that time. I loved Al Di Meola, I loved Alan Holdsworth, I loved Robert, I loved Larry Carlton, I loved George Benson. So I liked guitarists like that. Yeah, I appreciated Ritchie Blackmore. I appreciated Jimi Hendrix. I appreciated Eric Clapton. But I think that Jimi Hendrix, as much as I like his music, I never aspired to want to play guitar even remotely close to him because it was so it was so wild. It's just not me. Like I was more of the Eric Clapton school where you could actually notate it. Somebody asked, what overdrive do I use? I have my signature overdrive from Tom's Line Engineering. It's an MAB overdrive. It is really great. Okay, let's see. What if you can't read music? Well, here's what I think about reading music. You have tab. When I first started teaching guitar, literally teaching Tom Morello and working on music, I saw tablature, but there wasn't even tablature paper. Tablature is all you need. Do I recommend you learn music? Yeah, but if you don't, it's not going to stop you from being a great guitarist. See, that's the thing. People think because I have a degree, so you must do it this way or we will kill you. If you don't do it this way, you are breaking the laws of nature and music as it has been known for centuries. No, we have new techniques, but if you know how to read, it's a big advantage. If you don't, use tab. I use tab all the time. I don't even worry about notation, and I know notation. Okay, let's see. Yes, thanks. The original Speed Kills video and program you can't beat. It's 50 years from now, they're going to look back and say, I'm right, because I was. And it's not being arrogant, but time is always the judge. And it has withstood the test of time. But anyway, I can't stress enough about this guitar clinic. This guitar clinic next week, same time, same place here on Facebook, but it will also be on YouTube and it will be on Instagram. We'll have a lot of advertisements for this within the next week, but you are going to see me playing full songs. I'm going to be playing a different guitar on each song, and I will be playing my new Sawtooth double guitar. Change a pitch from A444. Willie, that's an interesting thing. Let me tell you this. A440 is the standard, but some symphony orchestras have actually tuned to A442 because they think it adds a little brightness. I do not recommend doing that. I think that if you're playing, especially with when you have modern electronic instruments that are tuned, you really don't want to be playing A444 when the keyboard player is playing A440. Yeah, I like 22 frets. If Dio had been playing lead. Dio actually could play some guitar and like kind of show everybody what he did. That's what Vinny told me, unless I'm completely off base. How are the Sawtooth amps? I think they're fantastic. What are your thoughts about selling one of your guitars with a sustainer? I don't have anything against a sustainer, but I can get enough sustain without that. I've never had a problem with sustain. What Sawtooth wants to do is we want to give the best features, the coolest guitars, the best playable guitars, and the best price. And we bring new guitar players into the fold, and so we can offer them guitars that are extremely affordable and great. But we also, with my signature line, and for example, the Heritage series and the Americana series, that hopefully we burn one of those bad boys they are great features and they're really high-end guitars, but they're not high-end prices. And that's really the key. They're great at that. We call it price points. Somebody asked if I use a noise gate. Yeah, sometimes I do, but not so much live, more for in the studio. And let's see, Willie said he'll buy one. I hope so. Let's see, zebra coils. Okay, let's see, no limit to greed, and that's the problem these days. I agree with you, I think, but you know what? I'm not always a believer that karma, if anybody knows karma, like what comes around, goes around, I'll tell you why. Well, it's not just what comes around, goes around. Here's the curve according to Michelangelo Batio. This is how I think about the world. people. I think there are truly some great people who have had really bad things happen to them in their life. My sister's one of them. She's no longer here. She was truly a great and kind human being. She's no longer here. Okay, so here's my curve. It's like my curve in life is this. You have really good people that bad things happen to you, and conversely, you have really bad things that good things happen to. Now, most of the people in this world, you live in the center of this curve where they're good people, not super good, but they do some good things and some bad things like all of us. Nobody's perfect, but they normally live pretty decent lives. But you have on this outer curve where there are just people who are really bad and have karma take care of them. They have bad things happen to them, but there are also people who are really bad that things happen and they don't get touched. And the same with good people. There are really good people out there that everything good happens to, but there are some really good people out there that just have bad to them, and there's nothing you can do. And that's in my sphere of things. Well, how do I relate that guitar? In many ways, just life in general. Guitar is life to me. Life is guitar. It's not my whole life, but music, I live and breathe music. And when I think about guitar, what you put into it is almost like karma. If you put in the time and do it right, the chances are really good the right thing is going to happen. Where if you take shorts and you do it wrong, you're bad at doing your technique. Most of the time bad happens, but there are occasions each side where you have really bad technique, but you're just so musical. Some people are just so musical that it doesn't matter which finger they use. It just screams and cries music. And so it's the same thing. And somebody said what I think about Yngwie. I talked to him earlier today. I love him. I use him. I will say that he takes a stand in his music. And that's what I do in my music. I take a stand. I play my double guitar and I took a stand. I have fun when I play. I love playing guitar. And I crack jokes. I enjoy the entertainment part, but I take guitar seriously. But I take a stand. I take a stand on my music. I take a stand on my technique. And when you take a stand, not everybody's going to like you. Hopefully, the majority of people, even on YouTube, I get 90+% likes. But there are a few people, nobody's going to get 100%. I can live with it. But I do it because I love it, and then I let you be the judge. Okay, so hey, Ace, Michael Ace. Hey, how are you? I'm doing really great. My double guitar, will it be available? We are talking about releasing a double guitar. Oh, and you know what? Brett, you reminded me of something. My new album, because of I will call it the craziness. What my hope is for everybody out there is that we return very soon to as much of a sense of normalcy as we can. Everybody say it can never go back. Well, of course things change. You have a new experience, so you have that experience. But we should, this is us as people. We've really made it together as a planet, and we we're working as crazy virus and craziness. But my new album, you want to start hearing the advertisements and a huge release statement about my record. Finally, we are going to be able to get my album out. Next week, we're going to start talking about it. This virus, unfortunately, it delayed everything. It's been ready since last year, so it's been done. We are going to be selling vinyl, cassettes, CD, and obviously digital downloads. So anyway, I just want to say this. Oh, where I buy the original Speed Kills DVD, metalmethod.com. I have been with Metal Method since the beginning. We have had decades-long relationship. Doug Marks, the owner, is like family to me. I'm very much a loyal person. I love people around me. There's that say, if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. I work with really smart people all the way around. If I left a company, it's because I had a good reason. And that doesn't mean they're a bad company. It's just that I like to work with people that I feel super comfortable with. And everybody in my life right now in music, I feel super comfortable with. Anyway, we're going to have a great workshop next week. Sponsored by GoDPS Music, Sawtooth Guitars, Sawtooth Amps, and Broadcast Music Products. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for coming here and watching tonight. I hope you've gotten something out of these lessons. We will continue next week. The big clinic, songs, double guitar, the bad boy rocks. I'm Michelangelo Batio. Good evening.